Well, absolutely. Quite a remarkable day to remember and also pay homage to one of the most important leaders in Southern Africa, the former leader of Namibian President Sam Nujoma, has been hailed as a Pan-Africanist, as a liberator, but also as a father of the nation for the Namibian Republic. But one of the people in attendance here is a former minister, Dr. Pandor. Once again, thank you so much for your time and welcome to the SABC. Maybe just your reflections as we look at this gallant freedom fighter who has been praised and hailed as a selfless man, as a Pan-Africanist, but also looking at the struggle of South Africa and Namibia, fairly intertwined because of the apartheid regime and the colonial elements as well.
Yes, indeed, you're so right. Both countries came out of a struggle against apartheid. And of course, the Namibian people had experienced the awful genocide that former President Mbeki referred to, as well as other massacres that occurred in Namibia. So we are two countries that have come out of deep, deep struggle against oppression. And many of the standpoints and policies that both countries have adopted in terms of internationalism as well as Pan-Africanism are really built on that foundation.
And obviously, Dr. Pandor, I suppose now that the key issue before countries like Namibia, South Africa, to collaborate in terms of economic development, in terms of the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, but also most importantly ensure that there is peace and stability. I mean, I think there was a point where I was going through archive and President Nujoma was here in South Africa talking to President Madiba, and the pertinent issue at the time was the DRC and with the conflict that's still raging. This is one of the reasons why, while I expressed my deep, deep sadness at our loss of soldiers in the Democratic Republic of Congo, I also express gratitude to them for the courage to join in this important battle of Africa, of silencing the guns on the continent. Until we have peace in Africa, we're not going to be able to focus on development. And for South African men and women in our defense force to be so courageous as to give themselves to this very, very significant task of Africa is something we should keep them in our hearts for and really thank them most sincerely for sacrificing in the manner that they do. Indeed, our country, South Africa, as well as Namibia, and large parts of the African continent, we have the struggle of economic freedom that we must win. We have done well on political and civil rights, but those critical aspects which really sustain, the freedom we've won, of having our hands firmly on the economic rungs of our country. This is something we have to strive for much more. And I've always had the view, and I'm glad that SADC really is promoting it, the view that economic integration is critical for us in Southern Africa. So I hope that as we mount all the various programs, as a region, we never neglect this critical area of economic integration and really look at what is it that a big economic power such as South Africa can do to ensure greater productivity in Namibia, industrialization in Lesotho, industrialization in Botswana, manufacturing in DRC, and so on. Because it's only through that level of diverse economic integration that we will achieve the economic power Africa needs so greatly. Before we let you go, Dr. Pandor, obviously the geopolitical developments. I mean, G20 here in South Africa. Last week, we saw the top diplomats from these powerful economies meeting here, but declaring a mission with Mr. Marco Rubio not coming here in South Africa, albeit represented by the diplomatic mission. Well, what would be a message maybe to the leaders in the US and to the world? I mean, because for South Africa, it's clear it's all about solidarity, equality,
and also sustainability as well?
Well, let me congratulate Minister Lamula on convening the foreign ministers so well. The meeting went well. It was extremely well attended. I think we shouldn't just focus on one country, albeit it is an important one, but it missed the opportunity to attend the G20 in Africa for the first time. This is something that won't be forgotten, and I think it's a strategic error. Because the United States of America should be taking Africa far more seriously than it is doing at present. And so I believe we must celebrate the fact that the ministers met and had very strategic and robust deliberations, reached conclusions that I thought were very positive. So it was a good meeting, and I'm sure the rest of the meetings will continue to be as good. I had hoped that Senator Rubio would take up the opportunity to be introduced to our country in honest terms and not the misrepresentation that he's been misled with. But that opportunity is missed by our diplomatic efforts, I'm sure, through Minister Lamula, and our President will continue.
All right. Thank you so much indeed for your time. Of course, Dr. Pandor really reflecting on the key issues and, of course, on the sidelines of this all-important memorial service to remember one of the gallant freedom fighters and Namibia's first elected democratic president. There's, of course, the late Dr. Sam Nujoma. Khayelihle Khumalo, SABC News, Pretoria.